And now, The Man in the Window, extended version. It was a rainy Friday night when Jason dragged himself home from work. The streets were empty, lit only by the flickering glow of old street lamps. His shoes were soaked, his jacket heavy with water, and all he wanted was a hot meal and a few hours of sleep. His small third-floor apartment felt welcoming as he stepped inside. He tossed his keys on the counter, kicked off his shoes, and glanced out his large front window, the one that faced the building across the street. Normally, he loved the view, the quiet of Maple Street, the occasional car, the way the rain shimmered under the lights. But tonight, something was different. In the window directly across from his stood a man. He wasn't moving. He wasn't blinking. He was simply staring. Right at Jason. At first, Jason thought it was a coincidence. Maybe the guy was just looking outside, the way he always did. But as the seconds turned into minutes, unease crawled up Jason's spine. The man didn't turn away, didn't shift, didn't even breathe, as far as Jason could tell. Jason shook his head and laughed nervously. "Creepy neighbor," he muttered. He pulled the curtains closed, microwaved his leftovers, and turned on the TV. But no matter what he did, he couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching him. Finally, curiosity won. He peeked again. The man was still there. But now, he was smiling. The next morning, Jason laughed it off. "I was tired, that's all." Coffee in hand, he looked out the window again. The curtains across the street were closed. Normal. Safe. But that evening, as the sky turned dark, Jason froze. The curtains opened again, and there he was, the man. Same spot, same stare, same smile. Jason decided enough was enough. He grabbed his jacket, crossed the wet street, and entered the building. Apartment 4B. He knocked. Nothing. He knocked again, louder this time. Finally, the door creaked open. An old woman peered out, her face pale, her eyes watery but sharp. "Yes?" she asked softly. "Sorry to bother you, ma'am," Jason began. "But I keep seeing a man in your window, standing there, watching me." The woman's face drained of color. "You're mistaken," she whispered. "There's no one here. Not anymore." Jason frowned. "But She cut him off, her voice trembling. "My son lived here. He died in that room 10 years ago." Jason's stomach twisted. "No, I swear I saw someone." The woman shook her head. "If you've seen him, it means he's chosen you." And before Jason could ask anything else, she slammed the door shut. That night, Jason tried to stay calm. Maybe she was crazy. Maybe it was just his imagination. But at midnight, his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Why did you knock on her door?" Jason's heart stopped. He typed quickly. "Who is this?" No reply. He set the phone down, hands shaking. That's when he heard it. Tap, tap, tap. He turned toward the window. The man was still across the street. Only now, his hand was pressed against the glass, tapping. Jason couldn't take it anymore. The following evening, he invited his friend Mark over. "Dude, you're losing it," Mark said, sipping a beer. "There's no man. Look." Mark yanked the curtains open. The window across the street was empty. No one. Jason stared, wide-eyed. "I swear, he was there." Mark laughed. "You're stressed, man. Too many late nights at work. Get some rest." But later, when Jason was alone again, he peeked out. The man had returned, smiling, waiting. This time Jason noticed something new. The man held something in his hand. A key. Slowly he raised it, pressed it against the glass, and mimed unlocking it. Jason's breath hitched. His window didn't even have a lock. The nights grew worse. Jason started hearing noises, scraping along the walls, faint footsteps in the hall when no one else was home. His phone buzzed at random hours, always the same unknown number. "Don't close the curtains. I can see you. Almost there." One morning, Jason walked out of his apartment. and found muddy footprints leading up to his door. The prints stopped right outside, but never turned back. Shaken, he called Mark. "You need to see this," Jason begged. Mark came over reluctantly. "Fine, show me." They sat in the dark, watching the window across the street. Hours passed. Nothing. Then, at exactly 3:07 a.m., the curtains slid open. The man appeared. "Holy!" Mark whispered. "You weren't lying." Jason turned to him. "You see him too?" Mark nodded, pale. But when Jason looked back, the window was empty again. "No, no, he was there!" Jason shouted. Mark grabbed his jacket. "I'm done, man. Whatever this is, don't drag me into it." And he left. Jason was alone again. That night, Jason woke to his phone buzzing. Another photo. This time it was of him, sitting on his couch, taken from behind. Jason spun around, scanning the room, but nothing was there. Just silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Then, tap, tap, tap. His head snapped toward the window. The man was gone from across the street. Instead, his pale face was pressed against Jason's own window, smiling wider than ever. Jason stumbled back, heart racing. He reached for his phone, but the screen lit up on its own. A new message. "Let me in." The last thing Jason heard before the lights went out was the sound of his own window sliding open.